Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandeep and I show you how to make easy Indian food. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a vegan French toast and a vegan savory French toast, which is actually a bread pakora, but I'm going to give you a trick to make it taste a little bit more like an egg toast. All right, let's get started. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I start off with 1/4 cup of besan or chickpea flour. So chickpea flour is very versatile and it's used a lot in Indian dishes, especially for snacks. So to the chickpea flour, I'm adding a dash of cinnamon, which you can add more or less depending on how much you like the flavor of cinnamon. Next, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar to this. This is the more traditional French toast that I'm making here, or the vegan version at least. And so the cinnamon gives it a little bit of flavor, the sugar gives it a little bit of sweetness, but obviously we're going to be adding a syrup of our choice later on, or you can add fruits on top. Anything works. I tried to keep this recipe completely vegan, but if you don't mind having regular milk in there, that's totally fine. You can just add regular milk, or you can add any non-dairy milk of your choice. I started off with just 1/8 of a cup of the oat milk because I want to make sure that there are no lumps. So in order to do that, you just add a little bit of liquid to the basin, and then you have to whisk it or mix it together until there's no lumps. It's easier to do that when the besan is more of a thicker paste. Once it gets a thinner consistency, it's harder to get the lumps out of there. Then I added about another 1/8 of a cup, so I'm using 1/4 cup measuring cup right there. So I just added half and half, so that's about 1/4 of a cup of oat milk, and I ended up adding about 1/4 cup, and then maybe about a tablespoon of the oat milk. So you can kind of see, depending on how thin or thick whatever liquid you're adding is, you might have to add a little bit less or a little bit more, and you just want to make sure that it's sort of a thinner consistency like you can see here. Once everything is mixed together and there are no lumps, you do want to add it to a flat plate or some sort of a flat vessel so that you can dip your bread and make your French toast. So I added it to my plate. Before I do anything though, I do want to toast my bread a little bit. So here I'm using some old crusty bread that I had that's already pretty dried out. And I don't know what kind of bread this is, but I'm not sure if this is vegan or not, but you can use any vegan bread that you use usually, or you can just use any regular bread that you have. The reason I toast it is because besan, unlike eggs, it actually soaks right into the bread and it takes a while to cook. So it'll stay sort of raw in the middle if it gets too soaked up into the bread. So I want to make it sort of crusty and dried out on the outside, so the besan will only stick to the outside without soaking too much into the bread. So as you can see, the mixture that I made, it was only enough for just 2 pieces of the French toast, or this big crusty bread that I have. And if you would like to make this for more, you can always double, triple, or quadruple the recipe. So once I toasted the bread, I dipped it into my besan mixture, and then I sprayed some cooking spray into my non-stick pan, and I let it cook on a medium-low flame for about a few minutes. As you can see, it's gotten a little bit of a crust there, and it's browned really nicely, and you just kind of give it a quick sort of flip, and then you smush it down a little with your spatula so that all parts of the bread are getting equally browned on both sides. Once I finished with this piece of toast, I quickly dipped my other piece of bread and toasted that as well. So this is a really simple and easy recipe, and you can adapt it and add other kinds of flavors to this. You can add a little bit of a nutmeg, you can add some, cardamom powder, or, ginger powder if you want to just give it a slight kick. I think that would taste amazing. But this is just sort of the most basic vegan French toast recipe that I'm giving you here. So you can kind of change it and adapt it to your tastes. Alright, so you can see this piece of toast is slightly more evenly browned and cooked than the other one was, because I was pressing it down with my spatula. But either way, it's as long as you toast the bread on both sides and the Besan mixture isn't soaking up too much into the bread, you should be good to go. Once both my French toast were done, I sliced them in half because I wanted to show you what it looks like on the inside and show you that it wasn't completely soaked all the way through to the center. If you use a thicker piece of bread, this would work out better. If it's a thinner piece of bread, perhaps it would go into the center, but it would also then cook a little bit more quickly as well. I sprinkled a little bit of powdered sugar on top, and then I drizzled a little bit of maple syrup. You can use any kind of syrup that you like, and then I garnished it with some strawberries, and there you have it. This was my vegan French toast. It tasted delicious. It's been a while since I've had anything with egg in it, so I couldn't really tell the difference. But why don't you guys give it a try and let me know what you think. Next, I'm going to be making my savory French toast, or the egg toast. This is also called a bread pakora in India. A lot of people have this with tea as a snack. So again, I'm starting off with 1/4 of a cup of besan or chickpea flour. I added about half a teaspoon of Amchur powder, half a teaspoon of black salt, half a teaspoon of Garam Masala, 1/4 of a teaspoon of red chili powder, and half a teaspoon of Chaat Masala. You don't have to add all of those spices. Even if you just add salt and black pepper or red chili powder, this would still be good to go. I think the black salt, however, that you can find at any Indian store, that's what makes it have sort of that eggy flavor, if you're really looking for that. But otherwise, this tastes fine just the way it is, with just some salt and pepper in there. I added water to this instead of milk. So again, I'm starting with 1/4 cup of water. I added about half of the 1/4 cup of water first to get all the lumps out. Then I added the rest of it. And then I ended up adding about 1/8 of a cup more water into this mixture. This was a little bit more liquidy than my previous mixture, and that worked out fine. So as you can see, it doesn't have to be an exact science here with how much liquid you add. Just make sure it's not too thick and not too liquidy. So once everything was blended in together, again, I poured my mixture into a plate, and then for this, I actually used just plain or regular whole wheat bread. So again, you can just use any bread that you have. And I toasted the bread on both sides just like last time. You can also toast this in the toaster. I don't know why I'm toasting this on the pan. Once the bread was toasted, I dipped it into my liquid, making sure not to keep it in there for too long, because again, we do not want the besan to be soaked up into the center of the bread. Because this is smaller bread, I was actually able to make 3 of these toasts. So again, just like with the last recipe, if you want to make it for more than just a single serving, you can always double, triple, or quadruple the recipe so that you can have this as a family breakfast or family snack time. You do want to make sure that you spray the bread on both sides. As you can see, I flipped that piece of bread over before I sprayed the other side, so I just flipped it back. It's a fairly forgiving and easy recipe. I just flipped it back over and sprayed it, and then I flipped it back. It took about 3 to 4 minutes for both sides, for each side, I mean. And once these pieces of toast were cooking on the other side, I was able to put my third piece of bread here because this bread has fairly small slices. As I mentioned earlier, my tip for making this taste more like an egg toast or a savory French toast is the black salt. So if you can find that at your local Indian store, that's perfect. But if you can't, don't worry about it. This tastes good just the way that it is. So just give it a try. So both of these recipes are really simple and easy, and even if you're not looking for an egg substitute and you just want to try something new, I hope you give these recipes a try. I know a lot of people like to have sweet things for breakfast, which is, French toast is a classic sort of a breakfast dish. But if you don't have a big sweet tooth, then give this the savory French toast a try, or the bread pakora. Bread pakoras are usually deep fried, so this is a very good, healthy alternative to those deep fried bread pakora. So this was my take on a savory version of French toast. I hope you give both of these recipes a try. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can see anytime I upload new videos.